Hello, everyone. Hey, it's Mando again with another episode of Real Estate Deli, where we cut through the noise and deliver actionable insights straight to you. So, welcome again, everyone. I have a special guest, Adam Colburn, our brother out of North Carolina. What's going on,
What's
Adam?
up?
How are you tonight?
I'm good, Mando. How are you?
I'm wonderful, wonderful. I'm glad to connect with you. We belong to the same community slash church, I call it. It all
Sure.
encompasses a little bit of everything. A creative, you have to be in it to know it. It's called Owners Club, and it's run
Right.
by Pace Morby and Jamil Damji. So go follow them as well if you want some insights of real estate. They're the kings of wholesaling and creative deals. You learn a lot. You might even join. So
Absolutely.
let's get to it, Adam. Give me some background. Tell me a little bit about yourself, brother.
Yeah, man. So I'm here right outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. I've been in the real estate investing space for about the last 3 years. Started wholesaling, then transitioned into fix and flips. We're still doing about 3 to 4 of those at a time. And then now we're doing some more buy and holds and focusing on sober living homes for our long-term rentals. Um, yeah, I also own a coffee shop. That's where I'm filming this. And so
Awesome. I smell it
trying to
from here.
branch out. Yeah, right. Love it. But yeah, man. So like we're doing a little bit of everything in the real estate space, and just every day's a new challenge, but it keeps it fun, right? Keeps it fresh. So we
Sure.
love it.
That's great. I'd
Yeah.
like to get some insight, maybe touch what led you into real estate. Did you have family members that were in the space, or that they planted a seed or whatnot, or how did you pick it
Yeah.
up?
Sure. Yeah. So honestly, I came into investing, basically had like this existential crisis on my couch at like 2 in the morning. Right. And so I've got 3 kids now. At the time I just had two. My daughter, Gwen, was maybe 2 months old. And then my older son, Mason, was probably 3. And so working HVAC type job at a pharmaceutical company and making decent money, but it's just like having this realization at like 2 in the morning, like, holy smokes, like, what am I going to do to be able to provide the life that my family deserves? Right. And so
Yeah.
I have a big, extensive background in photography, doing like weddings and like high school shoots for seniors, and then did a lot of real estate actually for listings. And that's kind of what I got the
Okay.
bug, but it was very limiting beliefs. I just wasn't ready mindset wise to actually take the leap. So that was probably 5, 6 years ago. Um, but I'm sitting on my couch, right? I'm like, dude, I got to find something else to do to add like an income stream so I can build that generational wealth and actually like provide something for my family, leave a legacy. And so tried all of the side hustles under the sun, did a print on demand t-shirt company, tried to do some day trading, did some other photo gigs on the side, and I could make decent money doing that, but all the high paying jobs are on the weekends and I have a full-time job. So I'm like, yeah, I'm making a little bit more money, but the goal is to see my family more, not less. And so I was just like, none of these are really working out. And so just going down the YouTube rabbit hole of all these side hustles, and then randomly Jerry Norton wholesaling video pops up, and it's like,
Awesome.
how I flipped this piece of paper for $40,000. And I was like, no way. Like, this is total scam. But at
Yeah,
that
for
point, I
sure.
tried everything else. Right. And so I was like, it's
Yeah.
15 minutes. What do I have to lose? Right. Let's watch it. And so he breaks down the whole process of like going and finding a distressed property, taking that contract and selling it to a fix and flipper, and just making the spread in the middle. And I was like, dude, no way that this is real.
Mind
And
blowing.
so, yeah, dude, it was crazy. And it was like right under my nose, right? I was a full-time real estate photographer for 3 years, shot 15 houses a day, worked with a couple of flippers
Wow.
here, like high volume flippers in Raleigh, 150 houses a year. And so like I'm
Nothing
right
quick.
around it. No, but it's like right under my nose, because it's like this whole world of real estate that exists under the surface of like the traditional MLS.
Sure.
And so that opened my eyes, and I was like, all right, I got to find somebody local to actually see that this is real, right? Show me the proof. And so I'm in all the like the RIA groups and NC investor whatever, right? And so I find this guy, his name's Ted, and I reach out. I'm like, dude, like, are you actually doing this wholesaling stuff? I'm seeing everybody like post these fat checks, but like, I don't know if it's legit or not. Is this some like weird funnel to get me to buy a course to then not make any money? And he's like, yeah, dude, I just sold a piece of land like 20, like, like 20 minutes from where I live. and it was an infill lot, and I made 25 grand. Like, here's the HUD, here's the receipt, and he showed it to me, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is actually legit. And so
I see it.
that's when I was like, dove off the deep end and started just consuming as much content as possible, all the YouTube videos, all the podcasts, and then got plugged in with Pace's free group.
Okay.
Started meeting a bunch of people, networking. Actually, one of my current business partners, still to this day, we met in the free group and kind of teamed
Amazing.
up, did our first wholesale deals together, and just kind of just really good alignment. And so we've just been going along the ride together. And then a little over a year ago, officially joined Sub 2 and Gator, and then now in Owners Club. And so it's just been this big snowball effect, just kind of rolling down the hill, and then now it just like consumes every part of our lives, and it's awesome.
It's
So
incredible, right? The journey that you just take that step, that leap of faith, let's say. And usually, entrepreneurs, people trying to make it on their own, they go through many facets. Like you say, you day traded, you did photography, you did all type of me. The same thing. I've DJ'd, I've bartended, I've
yeah,
done everything under the sun, right? You're always thirsting for something else, right? There's
right.
something more, right? Just keep going and say it's got to be something, right?
For
And
sure. Yeah.
and then something just connects, right? The connection happens, and you say, "Wow, it was under my nose." It's what I called the first to know and the last to find out, right?
Yeah. Right.
How is this possible that this opportunity was literally under my nose? So
Yeah,
that's
dude, it's crazy.
awesome. So you
Yeah.
said you connected with your partner in the free pace group,
Yeah.
and you created an opportunity. At that point, you started creating opportunities.
Yeah, so I was just like, again, consuming everything, jumping in all these free challenges because Pace is forever just throwing out value like crazy. And
Sure.
so it was like a driving for dollars challenge.
Okay.
And back when he was pushing batch leads a lot. And so I'm on the Zooms and I'm just hammering the chat like, yo, I'm in Raleigh. I'm new, looking for other people to like squat up with and keep each other accountable. Like, hit me up. And so like an hour later, I get this random phone call from this dude. He's like, hey, I saw your post on the challenge, like, I'm in Raleigh too, do you want to like go grab a drink and chop it up? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so we meet at like a local brewery, and we just kind of lay out our stories, right? Like, I've got my pharma job, 3 kids. He is actually a CPA by trade, so he's a partner at his firm. And his issue, like, he has more money than time, right? He's trying to buy his time back because he's just overloaded at work, like drowning in tax returns, never sees his family. And he's like, I want to get into real estate so I can just hire some lower level CPAs to come in and do my grunt work. And I only focus on the high dollar clients. And then I can go take my kids to hockey games and go travel and do whatever. And I was like, well, this
Sure.
sounds perfect. And I was like, I don't have much money or time, but I've got more time than you. So how about we team up and you fund our marketing, like get some VAs or we start sending mail, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
I'll be the guy on the phone. I'll lock up the deals. I'll sell the deals, and then we'll just split the profits 50-50. And he's
Awesome.
like, dude, I love it. Because it was right around tax season, like April, back in
You must have
21, I
been
think.
swamped.
Dude, yeah, he was already dying. And he's like, I want to get going, but I don't have any time to even learn this stuff. And it's like, it sounds like you know that at least the basics of this. Like, I'm willing to take a chance and have somebody follow up on these leads because I'm not going to have time to. And I was like, yeah, dude, let's do it. And so it took a couple months, but we closed a tiny deal.
What was your
But
first
that was like,
deal?
first deal was, I think we split between me and him. It was like $3,700. And so total assignment fee, I think, was like 7 grand, but we ended up using an agent to sell it. Like, he brought a buyer, and so he wanted a cut, which he deserved. But it could have been $1 million, right? It was that proof of concept that we finally got
Yeah.
something over the finish line, made money. And then it was like off to the races. Like, next week, locked up still one of our biggest wholesale deals. We made almost 50 grand.
Hmm.
Then landed a couple more, then got our first flip, and just kind of the snowball went, right? The first deal is always the hardest. And so we finally like broke through that ceiling, and it's just been kind of growing and scaling ever since.
That's awesome. I'm going to assume that he left his CPA job or pulled back.
No, he's still there.
He's still there?
I'm still at my day job too, unfortunately. I'm on my
Okay.
way out. We're working
Gotcha.
on a really big luxury flip right now, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But
Okay.
that's
So
going to be
let's
my
let's
exit.
get I know you said you're starting to get into that luxury space of flipping.
Yeah.
Let's dive in. What's going on now, brother?
Sure, yeah. So out here in like Raleigh, Durham, we're normally doing like 3 or 4 flips at a time. But for the most part, like during our career the last few years, we've just been focusing on like the first time home buyers price point, right? Like, which for us is around 350,000 or less. So we can pick up these deals really cheap, put 50, 60 grand into them, sell them, make about 50, 60 grand. Right. And so, but there's all kinds of problems with these like landlord special houses, right? Like lots
Yeah.
of hidden stuff. The sellers know how to hide things and not disclose it and all that stuff. Like Pace always says, buyers are liars, sellers are worse. And it's very true when you're flipping houses. And so that like I like the process of flipping, but it's just super time intensive and the cash conversion cycle is really slow. So it's like, how do we do this for and get like a bigger bang for our buck?
For
And
sure.
so we've been focusing more on going after higher purchase price homes. So 600, 700, $1 million, like this house that we're working on. But
Wow.
instead of having to come in cash, we'll come in using some form of creative finance. So either seller finance, sub two, or a combination of both. And so this particular deal is in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, right outside of the UNC campus. So highly desirable, super fancy neighborhood. And we were able to, it was a pocket listing from an agent, sent it to me, originally wanted cash. And so they wanted $700,000. This thing needs $200,000 worth of work. ARV is like 1.3. So like there's margin, but that's a lot of money to put on the table, a lot of risk. And so I basically told them like, look, if you want cash, I'm at 510. And I'm still nervous because I had my contractor walk in. He's like, yeah, dude, every bit of 200,000 is going into this house. And
At least.
so, yeah, right.
At,
And that's
so,
just looking at it, not even like starting to cut open the walls and see what's going on inside.
and you know what's going to happen. It's
Always,
going
dude.
to.
Yeah, the skeleton's in the closet for sure. And
Yep.
so I was like, I'm at 510. If you just want cash and we'll be done, I'll give you 625 because we were able to kind of walk them down a little bit. It's like, I'll give you the 625 that you want, but you got to let me flip the house first. And they're like, okay, what does that mean? And
Yeah. What does
so
that mean?
I was like, well, do you have an underlying mortgage on this house? I know you've owned it for 30 plus years. So maybe it's free and clear. And they're like, no, we actually did like a cash out refi about 5 years ago to buy a condo in Myrtle Beach. And that's where they were living at the time. And so this house was vacant, like in total disrepair. And they're still paying a mortgage on it because they used that money to buy their condo.
And how
And
much
so I was
debt
like,
did they have on the house at that point?
about 220 on the
Okay.
house. And so I was like, well, let me take over that mortgage. I'll make those payments on your behalf. So now you're not paying for a house you don't live in. We'll come in, we'll renovate the home. And then once we sell, you'll get the rest of that equity. And so, and I'll also give you 10% down. So at least you get some money now. We'll go and do the renovation process. And then once we sell, you get the rest of it. So if you can wait 3-4 months, you're going to make an extra $110,000. What do you want to do?
And my
I just
following question
left
is,
it out there.
you're coming with these creative opportunities. How are they receiving that?
Yeah. So I mean, initially they were pretty put off by it just because like, oh wait, the loan's going to stay in my name and all this stuff. And so it takes a little bit of education on the agent side and on the seller side, just to make sure everybody understands what's at play here and that there's no shenanigans going on. Like this is all above board. We're still using attorneys, still using title companies, all that stuff. Everybody knows what's going on. We have paperwork in place to protect us as investors as well as the sellers. And because this is not like a long-term hold where traditionally a lot of sub twos are, that there's not much risk for the seller because even if like a due on sale scenario happened, I'm going to be done with the house before they come after the property anyways. So there's not much risk. It's really just, do you have enough time to wait for me to fix this house first? And you're going to make more money. And in this scenario, these sellers did. They already lived in Myrtle Beach in their condo, just sipping Mai Tais. They were retired. They're like, yeah, an extra 110 grand if we just wait a few months. Yeah, I'll do that. And so we're in the process right now. It should be done hopefully at the end of the month. And we're looking at a multiple 6-figure spread on that deal.
Awesome. So soup the nuts. How long has it taken and did the budget change?
Yeah, so budget's been pretty spot on. I think we're going to be about 20K over what we were expecting, which is not bad when we're talking about $200,000.
Yeah.
Timeline has definitely been longer. And that is attributed entirely to the town of Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Their permitting process has been an absolute nightmare. And but I mean, great learning lesson. So we know in the future, if we come after some of these more luxury deals, that you got to have all your ducks in a row. And
So
and
by
not that
ducks in a
we
row, what was happening that there was a delay? Was it just them backlogged, or
yeah.
you ran into some
So
problems?
in my experience in the 10 plus houses that I've flipped so far, and we've got some partners on this deal as well that are also in sub two. When we go in the initial demo phase, right, we're just cleaning out the house, ripping out everything. I don't have to pull a permit for that. Normally in Wake or Durham counties, where we do the majority of our flips.
Okay.
But apparently in Chapel Hill, that's a part of your scope of work, and they want their entire scope of work from day zero.
Wow.
Even if you don't know what you're going to do with the house, which we don't, like I don't vision cast until the house is empty on what I'm going to do with a redesign. They want everything from soup to nuts, just like you said, absolutely everything from front door to all the way to the back, flooring, everything. They want to know exactly what you're going to do. And so demo was a part of that. And so we had already sent our crews in. They got 95% of the house demoed, and then some anonymous tip, which when you're in a luxury neighborhood, you're going to have nosy neighbors. And
Absolutely.
somebody called in because they were annoyed
Snooping
from
around.
the noise, right?
What's
And
going on?
so we get a call from our contractor. He's like, the police are here. I
Oh
don't know
my
what's
God.
going on. And so my other partner on the deal is like freaking out. He runs over there, and it's just the inspector saying, hey, you need a permit for this. We're putting a stop work order in there. And
Jeez.
so stop work order hit. That took about a month to be released to get the contractor to put everything else on. And ever since then, it's been a just like a cat and mouse game. They come to check on something. They might say yes, but they're going to find something else to be mad at. So then they come back 2 days later, contractor fixes it. They find something else that they're mad at.
Now
And I'm
they're
like, you
now
just
they're
told me.
nitpicking.
Yeah. I was like, you just told me that was good 2 days ago. How is it bad now?
Yeah,
And
you're just on their
yeah,
radar
it's
now.
crazy. Exactly. And it's like, I'll play the game. I know there's politics involved. Like, do you want a bottle of whiskey? Do you like pizza delivered to your office? Like, what do we need to do here? Because like, help me help you, because I know that you
Exactly.
got other things better to do than bother me. But
Absolutely.
that's been a challenge for sure. But I mean, I'm hoping that we can be done. We're on decent schedule now. And so now it's more just the fit and finish kind of stuff that moves a little bit quicker. So I'm hoping that we'll have it on the market by end of the month or early September, and we'll have a quick sale. So all things point to that, but obviously this time of year is a little dicey. But we have so much spread on this, like there's not really a bad scenario where we're gonna like break even or anything. It's just like, do you make 200,000 or do you make 80,000? Like worst case scenario.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to have it done, and that's kind of like our case study, and that's what we're focusing on moving forward is just higher purchase price, but acquiring it creatively. So we're using the same amount of capital, but instead of making 50, 60 grand, we're making 200, 300 grand per deal.
That's awesome. You get more value for your time, and
Yep.
you had an experience. You learned a lot of things could go bad. Let's say the property's not being worked on for a month. The contractor could disappear, right? The contractor needs to have work, right? They might have
Yeah,
subs, whatever it is. They might want to disappear on you, right? Be like, oh man, I can't stick around for this month. A lot of
for
things can
sure.
happen, right? And
Oh yeah.
right, these things are real in the industry, right? And
Yeah.
obviously, and now you stepping into a niche space, higher end. So you probably had higher end, what you call it, designs, right? Other than your entry level flips, let's say, right? So that's
Yeah.
probably was new to you as well, right?
Yeah. And so that's why it's the beauty of sub two and being in this community is finding people that are further ahead than you. Right. And so I've got two local partners that primarily focus on more luxury style homes. One is a unicorn agent and a designer. And the other
That's
one
great.
is my actual business partner in sub two. And so they teamed up and started doing some stuff while I was working with my other partner. And so he kind of focuses on the design stuff. The other guy helps raise the capital along with me and kind of project manages a little bit as well. And so it's a pretty seamless partnership between the four of us to get this one over the finish line. And with that extra fit and finish, like we're obviously using different contractors because not all contractors are the same quality, right? And so when we're dealing with $1 million house, we want to make sure that it's just perfect, right? And so we're using
Yeah.
some higher luxury level contractors to get the work done, and putting in some really quality design things to really make this house stand out in the neighborhood, so we can really push for that 1.3 or higher purchase price.
Yeah, that's coming down the road, brother. It's
Yeah.
good. It's coming down your way.
Yeah,
I
we're excited.
see. I see. I'm looking at you're wearing a specific shirt there.
Oh yeah,
I'm
dude,
looking
always
at.
repping.
I see the owners club,
Yeah,
and
man.
we touched on it earlier. And being a member of the owners club, we've been set a credo, let's say, uh, led on a mission to help change the world, let's say, and create opportunities actually bigger than you envision yourself that you can do, right? So
Right.
a challenge, we're being challenged to be more than what we are, right, every day in
Yeah.
this community. And we've been set with a, like I said, a credo, which is called your Mount Everest, right? Your
Yep.
Mount Everest is something that you want to accomplish at about a certain amount of time. Can you delve into your Mount Everest? And I know you said you're in a co-living space, is it a sober living? Does that
Yeah.
tie in with your Mount Everest?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so my specific Mount Everest is I want to help 350 people coming out of recovery, some sort of rehab center, provide them with safe and affordable housing, all while making $50,000 net income per month. And so we've kind of reverse engineered on what that looks like. And that's 50 homes operating with 7 individuals in them. And so we've got one so far. We've got 3 or 4 in the pipeline that we're working on. But that's our big vision for the next like 18 to 24 months, is to bring those houses online and provide that space for people to have a safe spot that they can afford to get back up on their feet, back into normal everyday life, so we can make an impact in the community that way, but also still do well for ourselves to in turn go and make more of an impact. Right. So it's just that kind of win-win there in that space.
Yeah. Can you obviously you said you have one already up and running.
Yeah.
How is that going and what's the experience? Is this your first endeavor with having multiple tenants, right? Co-living and
Yeah.
coexisting. How's that relationship going? And are you creating maybe a culture within the co-living space, right? Because you're melding people from all walks of life, right? With
Right.
with whatever circumstances they're dealing with. And how's that going?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it's going really well. And so sit more in just the landlord seat. I partner with an operator. And so
Okay.
for this particular house, we're partnered with the Oxford House. So nationwide nonprofit. I have relationships with the local representatives there in Knoxville. And so they oversee our property. And so they're the ones vetting the tenants, making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to. And it basically, the way it works out for me, just as a landlord, I have a commercial lease set up with Oxford House. And so it makes it really easy for me as far as a landlord, right? Like I don't have individual leases with every single tenant. If somebody goes
Mm,
squirrely, I have to kick them out and then have like an addendum for a new person or that kind of stuff. They cover utilities, they cover maintenance up to a certain dollar amount. Like obviously, if the roof caves in, that's me. I got to cover that as the landlord. But like if somebody goes crazy and punches a wall in, they're covering that. I don't have to pay for
okay.
that, and they cover all utilities as well. I think I mentioned that, but
Yeah.
and there's no management fee because they're a nonprofit, right? So it's kind of like a triple net lease.
Okay.
Um, and so this one's been great. It's been online for 3.5 months now, and we haven't had any trouble. I had to send one technician over there. They were having an issue with a stove. Um, but other than that, it's really like super passive compared to my other. I have other long-term rentals with property managers. They bother me way more than the sober guy does. And so we know that they're really happy. They're actually asking me for more homes already. And so we're planning the build out stage of this particular property we own, as well as acquiring more stuff in the local area. And so it's been a great relationship with them so far.
Well, that's awesome. That was gonna be my next question. Obviously, that now you're working with with Oxford, I think you said.
Yeah.
And my next question was like, how did they feel about this? And then you answered it like they're already asking for more, right?
Yeah, totally.
So,
Well, and it's a huge need in this Tennessee market, which kind of blew me away because obviously
oh
I'm
yeah,
here in North Carolina. I was never looking to become the sober living guy in Tennessee, but if not you, then who? Right. And so the opportunity presented itself. I reached out um and just asked, hey, do you guys need specific housing in this area? I have a house that I think might work for you guys. And they're like, yeah, when can we move in? Like they hadn't even seen it yet. And
no
so
way.
yeah, they're such a huge need for this. So they go over and they look at it. They're like, yeah, we'll send a lease right now. mind you, this was an REO property that we bought directly from a bank that had been vacant for 2 years and needed a full gut renovation, but they were all in. And so we did that. It took about 6 months to get the house online to where it's livable, and now the guys are in there. But yeah, just last week, my rep called me and said, "Hey man, like we're looking to have another house in by October. Do you think you can find something?" I was like, I'll start looking. Sure, yeah, we can make that
Okay.
happen.
So
And
was
so
this
yeah,
a
it's been
single
good.
family home that you converted and added space to it,
Yeah. And
and
so
added
this
rooms
is
to it?
it was originally a 4-bed, 3-bath with an unfinished basement. And so now it's what's technically a 6-bed, 3-bath. The bedroom downstairs in the basement is just more of a storage area. And
Okay.
so there's 5 bedrooms upstairs, 3 baths. We've got 8 tenants in there. And
Wow.
so the beauty of sober living compared to like the pad split model, which it's perfectly viable. But the thing that I like about sober in particular, outside of just making an impact on that specific set of individuals that are struggling with that, um, is that I can put more than one person in each bedroom.
No
Or
way.
yeah. So it's more their guidelines are based on square footage per person rather
Yeah.
than one heartbeat per room, right? Because that dictates a lot of people that, like, if it's a single mom with a small child, they can't live in a pad split,
Yeah.
right? And so they can in my house. Not I wouldn't put them in a sober house, but a separate house set up for something like that, single moms. But as long as these individuals, which my house is all guys, so as long as these guys have 60 square feet that is dedicated to them, that's all they need, right? By law. And so
In the room
in the
itself,
room,
60
correct.
feet
And
each.
so,
Okay.
yep. So a 12 by 12, a traditional bedroom, I can put 2 guys in. And then if I have a larger, like a sunroom or something like that, I could put 3 guys in there
Three.
potentially. And so Oxford House,
Interesting.
the way they like to structure it is they like to leave 2 of the bedrooms as individual occupancy, as kind of like a kind of cherry to dangle, right? Like a reward if they go through the process, they're going to their meetings, they're paying their bills on time, then they get the privacy of the extra room.
So
And
it's
so
incentivized.
exactly. And
Okay.
so we like to honor that I mean, it works for them clearly. So 2 of the rooms are single occupants, and then the other 3 are doubles, and that's how we get to the 8. Um, and so all the expenses are divvied up amongst the 8 tenants, so it makes it super affordable for them in a turnkey house that was just renovated. But I get a charge close to double what I could as traditional rental, so we can cash flow well, turn around to go do it again and again and again, right? So we can start to make a dent into this addiction problem that's not going anywhere in America.
Unfortunately, it's not, and government's not going to solve this issue. It's kind of we the people, so we're
Yeah,
the ones that have to solve these issues. It's very interesting you say that because you mentioned pass split, and pass split have different requirements. And I know I think they say they want 80 square feet per room, I believe,
yeah,
80 to 100, and they have different parameters. A single person. This
sure,
sounds very viable. Let's say for a mom who has a kid, right, and
yeah,
needs a place to stay in.
totally. Well, the biggest thing for me too is like with pad splits, I have to take a perfectly fine house, renovate it to chop it up to turn a 3-bed house into an 8-bed house to make it work.
Yeah,
But what if it doesn't? What if I can't cash flow? What if I can't keep tenants in place or something changes with the laws? I'm going to have to spend another rehab budget just to bring it back to normal. Right. And so now I've renovated this home twice to fix it up and then just to tear it right back down to a single family house. I don't have to do that with my sober model. I leave the house as is and I can just put multiple people in each bedroom, still cash flow very similarly. And I don't have to deal with the management fees and all of that kind of headache that can come from that. And
that's
so,
awesome.
yeah, so we really like the strategy.
So when you're looking for properties, you obviously then looking for more bedrooms, right? 4 bedrooms, probably typically, right? And
Yep.
probably a square footage, maybe 1,800 square feet, maybe 2,000,
Yeah.
and a couple bathrooms. You don't add additional bathrooms. You don't do none of that, right?
Yeah, if necessary, we
Okay.
would, but it seems to be like the sweet spot for a max for a residential home from a lot of people I've spoken to is 10 people in a house. And so it's typically 3 or 4 people per bed or per bathroom, right? And so
Okay.
with 3 bathrooms with 10 people, I'm kind of like, yeah, 4 people use this one, 3 with this one, 3 with this one. That works. And because anything above that in a lot of municipalities, it becomes a commercial asset. And so you got to add sprinklers and exit signs and all this other kind of stuff. And so we don't have to add all that additional cost if we can just stay at 10 and still cash flow. That's what we work on. And so it actually works out great for us too, because a lot of these larger homes are the ones that end up sitting on market for a long time, where we can pitch terms, buy them creatively, take over that low interest debt, and then cash flow from day one as soon as we move the tenants in place.
That's incredible. Those opportunities that are built in there. And is this nonprofit local or national?
Yeah, they're national. They're in all 50 states, and so all major metros. The question is if they need housing right now or not. And so really, it's just as the way that I got linked up with them is I literally just went on Google and typed in Knoxville, Tennessee, Oxford House, found a website, and just cold called somebody. And I was like, hey, I'm a local real estate investor. We acquire properties all the time. Do you guys happen to need any housing in this area? And they're like, oh my gosh, yes, we need a house yesterday. I was like, okay, perfect. Well, I got one for you. And so we did that, and then we reverse engineered the lease and got everything working. And so it works in every market. And that's what I love about it as well, because the structure of the lease is with the nonprofit, not with an individual. Now that opens the opportunity for me to go into states that aren't as landlord friendly, but I don't have to worry about landlord tenant laws because this is a commercial lease.
Wow. Let's say like I'm in New York City,
Yeah.
States like these states, they're super tenant friendly. They're not landlord friendly at all. Squatters squat anywhere, whatever they want to do. So that becomes then a viable opportunity for an investor, let's say, who's local to the market like me, but is not interested in investing in, say, New York because of these factors, right? And they rather go somewhere else. These seem to be open the door to an opportunity, right, to be able to serve a community in need, right? And as a big metropolitan areas, you encounter a lot of these problems with a lot of people, right?
Absolutely.
So you actually opened my eyes to that, and you made me think about some things, right? So I appreciate that. I hope everyone,
let's get some deals done in New York.
I love that. I hope the people listening are learning something by what Adam is doing, right? Just making a call and looking for opportunity, and all of a sudden someone answered on the other side, right? And he's now there to serve. So where do you see yourself going in the next 3 to 5 years, brother Adam?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, like I said, that Mount Everest goal is we really want to get to that 350 people, and that's kind of like our minimum in the sober space. If we can exceed that, amazing. Obviously looking to acquire some more businesses. Like I mentioned, I own a coffee shop. And so looking to scale that, maybe add some more service-based businesses to go along with our real estate holdings, and just our flips and everything kind of vertically integrate with our construction company and our roofing company, HVAC, all that kind of stuff. And then, just kind of keep doing what we're doing, loving life, hanging out with the family, and making memories. So
that's awesome, brother. Where can we reach you? What's your social media handles where people can reach you at?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram or YouTube. Both are at the Adam Colburn, just my name spelled out with the in the front, and you can check me out there. Reach out to me, shoot me a DM. Happy to answer any questions or partner on deals, whatever you want. Hit me up.
Thanks again for coming, Adam. Another show with the Real Estate Deli. I'm glad that Adam was able to impart his wisdom and his insights and what he's doing and what he's about to do in the space. Again, congratulations. Much success to you. God bless, and all the best to you and your family.
Thanks, Mando. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate you, brother. We'll see you guys again soon.
All right, bud. See ya.